Good afternoon. This is Lunchtime News. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We have a comprehensive bulletin lined up this afternoon, and our sign language interpreter is Brian Muraro. My name is Jackie Wambiru, and to kick us off, the family of a Form 3 student from Maranda High School who perished in a road accident now claims that his death could have been avoided. The deceased father, Julius Mogaka, has accused the school of failing to inform the family before sending their son home for the alleged school fees balance.
Protas Mogaka, a 17-year-old student at Maranda High School, was among 5 people who perished in a road accident over the weekend at Amabuko along the Kisii-Keroka Road. Protas was heading home to collect fees balance when the public service vehicle he was traveling in collided with a trailer.
Ilikuwa siku ya Jumamosi. Ndio ilikuwa jioni. Mtoto akanipigia simu saa 8. Akaniambia wamefukuzwa school fees. Vile wamefukuzwa school fees, nikamwambia si uko karibu na shule. Akaniambia ndio, lakini tumefungiwa gate. Vile tumefungiwa gate, tumefukuzwa kwenda nje. Sasa vile tumefukuzwa, hakuna mwalimu nitakupea muongee na yeye. Nikajaribu nikamwambia sasa utafanya aje, uko na pesa yoyote? Akaniambia niko na pesa kidogo, wacha nipande naye gari, nikifika mahali itaniishia nione M-Pesa iko karibu, nikuambie unitolee huko ama ulipe kwa gari hiyo transport. Nikamwambia sawa. Jioni saa 1 kitu saa 1 hivi nikasikia mtu akanipigia simu eti kuna accident imekuwa hapa Mavuko, kama uko karibu kuja uangalie. Nilisikia mtoto wako anasoma Maranda, kuja uone kuna mtoto wa Maranda ameumia hapa. Kufika hapo kuja nikapata kama wamemweka kwa gate ya moja kuingia moja ndani. Kuangalia nikapata ni yeye.
His father Julius Mogaka saying that had he been informed by the school before sending his son home, his death could have been avoided.
Ilikuwa nilipe 27,000, nikatuma 30, sababu hapo awali kutoka nyuma nilikuwa na balance ya 7,000. Nikasema wacha nitume 30, hiyo nyingine isukume ile ka balance kingine kakoko angalau kapungue kidogo. Tangu ile wakati acha wanipigia simu waniambie school fees umekosa ama hiyo ulilipa ni kidogo. Mimi najua mtoto wangu anasoma, vile anasoma kawaida. Na kama anakuja nyumbani, mwalimu ananipigia simu, anapea mtoto simu, ananiambia ongea na mtoto. Lakini hiyo siku mbona wako nipigia simu, wafanye vile walikuwa wanafanya hapa awali. Hiyo ndio anajiuliza. Nauliza nashindwa, sasa nipate majibu na nani atanijibu?
Munge inform hao wazazi, mnaelewana, mna communicate, you have the number. Mzazi hao aware, muongee kama watu wazima, then from there conclude nini mtafanya. Lakini hii mambo ya kufukuza watoto weekend na mnafunga gate mnawarusha nje, that one is unfair.
An uncle to the deceased, Eric Ongau, said the student had buried his grandfather recently and that the family struggled to raise his school fees.
Hata mkijaribu kuangalia huko nyuma, juzi ndio tumemaliza kushika angu. Na sasa tena nyingine. Kwa jameni, kweli sisi kama sisi wanyonge, haki yetu iko wapi?
Meanwhile, a family is seeking justice after a teacher at Bitundugusi Primary School in Kemera Ward, Nyamira County, allegedly caned their son, injuring his private parts. The assault on the Standard 8 learner reportedly led to severing one of his testicle, prompting removal through surgery.
Alikuja tu akaniambia ati amepigwa hapa sehemu saa 6. Sasa hii hapa sehemu saa 6 alikuwa anafura, mtoto hakuwa anatembea vizuri. Fira aliniambia wakati ilikuwa Monday, wewe peleka mtoto hospitali atibiwe kwanza, akipona mkuche na yeye. Na tena huyu kijana yangu akamwambia sisi hatukuchapa mtoto hivyo, sisi tulimpiga viboko tu. Wewe peleka mtoto hospitali atibiwe kwanza. Huyu akamwambia atibiwe kwanza, si useme vile mlimpiga. Akasema wewe fanya chenye unataka.
The family is alleging lack of cooperation from the school administration.
Kibidi akatuambia hata hiyo siku mimi sikuwa, lakini nilisikia. Kawauliza mama mwenye mtoto alikuja. Kaniambia alikuja, mkamwambia namna gani? Nilimwambia aenda fanya kile unataka kufanya. Na ndugu yake alikuja siku kesho yake. Na tulimwambia hata bakatoa hiyo mtoto nguo. Bakamwangalia bila alikuwa. Sasa wakamwambia ndugu yake chukua mtoto wenu hospitali.
Sasa mtoto wangu akafanyiwa surgery. Aki mtoto wangu ananiambia walinitoa hii moja siwezi pata mtoto. Tuko na huzuni sasa, hatuna ya kusema. Sisi tunasema serikali mtusaidie.
Police from Manga Station visited the pupil at Bosongo Hospital and recorded a statement. Nancy Okware, Lunchtime News.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is urging his supporters to head called by the Azimio La Umoja of One Kenya coalition to hold the government accountable if the bipartisan talks fail. Speaking at the burial of Pius Musembi, the chairman for Syokimau Mavoko Community Association in Kasio Village in Kilome constituency, Makueni County, Kalonzo also rallied his allies to back his ambition of succeeding President William Ruto in 2027.
We are not blaming anybody, but we are now saying, let us all act in unison. Let us be together. Let us take it up from there. Our MCAs, you are an army. We are for dialogue, but dialogue must be sincere. We get surprised when people begin to shout from the bottom of wherever they are, and they begin to make it appear like truly tested national leaders do not care for this land.
In presence of everyone today here, because we are here burying a hero. But leader watu wachana na hao. Those people, leave them alone. Wewe endelea na kukusanya community to put it together and to lead us.
Still in the political arena, Mijikenda Kaya elders in the coastal region have called for constructive dialogue between the ruling Kenya Kwanza and the opposition with a view to bringing lasting peace and security in the nation. The elders say constant political squabbling was detrimental to the peace and economic well-being of the country.
Kaya kambe, kaya kaya, kaya digo, kaya kaya, kaya giriama.
Speaking at the Kaya Fimbuni Forest in Rabai Sub-County, Mijikenda Kaya elders in the coastal region welcomed the call for bipartisan talks between the government and opposition.
Kwa hivyo tunawaomba yale ambayo rais wetu uliongea kuwa mtakaa na mheshimiwa rais na Raila, muweze kukaa ili muweze kutoa mwelekeo. Manake wa Kenya wanangojea ile sauti zenu nyinyi wawili. Uliposema tu kuwa Raila tutakaa pamoja, Raila alipokubali, biashara zinaendelea, maisha yanaendelea.
They asked the leaders to desist from actions that could plunge the nation into chaos.
Tunatoa kauli ya kuwa tunataka rais wetu William Ruto na kinara wetu Raila Odinga muweze kukaa pamoja na muweze kushirikiana. Muongee. Manake mahali imefika Kenya, nyinyi ndio mnaangaliwa. Mkiongea mkipatana, tunaamini Kenya itatulia na maendeleo yatapatikana. Si wazee wa Kaya tunalaani vibaya aina zote za uhalifu. Tunaotaka ni umoja. Nchi yetu iweze kufika pale ilipokuwa.
Meanwhile, a section of the clergy have also weighed in on the debate, saying issues affecting Kenyans should be solved amicably.
Praying that the dialogue will be found, and above all, it is not a dialogue to look for positions. It is not a dialogue to drum for other leaders to be included. It is a dialogue that will bring sanity and touch the common mwananchi who is suffering in the rural areas.
So we commend them for that. We also commend the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, even for swiftly coming in and accept the way of dialogue.
Mazungumzo haya iweze kufanyika kwa njia iliyo sabamba, njia ambayo haileti kuchelewesha, kwa kitu kinaitwa ushirika wa umoja ambao utaweza kuleta amani kwa taifa hili.
In other news, Environment and Forestry Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya has reaffirmed of the government's commitment to achieve 30% forest cover restoration. The CS was speaking during the signing of the tree growing cooperation framework between Kenya Forest Service and Safaricom Company at Kinale Forest. Dubbed Climate Action Collaboration, the agreement aims at reforestation, protection and conservation of over 5,000 hectares of public forest reserves.
As part of its journey to becoming a net zero carbon emitting company by 2050, Safaricom signed an agreement with Kenya Forest Service to actively be involved in planting trees to sequester carbon from the atmosphere. Part of its commitment is planting 5 million trees in public forest reserves, rehabilitating degraded forests through an adopt a forest strategy in the next 2 years, and adoption of technology in monitoring and tracking forest restoration activities.
We want to look after those trees for at least 5 years. And that's the reason why the Community Forest Association, the Kenya Forest Association, the ministry, our partners are very important.
We came out as part of our environmental commitment. We made a commitment to plant 10 million trees in the next 5 years.
We appreciate so much when we see partners like you coming on board to join together to plant trees to improve the tree cover and the forest cover of this nation.
Environment Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya, who presided over the ceremony at Kinale Forest, lauded the initiative, noting that her ministry is keen on integrating technological innovations in its program of achieving 30% forest cover restoration by 2030, and one such is the use of Jazamiti app, which will be used by farmers and tree growers.
To ensure farmers and tree growers are well sensitized, my ministry is in the process of recruiting an additional 300 forest cadre officers who will provide extension services and give technical support to farmers in every location countrywide.
She further called on most stakeholders to come on board to actualize the government's agenda of planting 15 billion trees in 10 years.
The intention of this initiative to grow 15 billion trees, we are saying it's an all government, all society, all community approach, because no one person can do it alone.
Indeed, the target for the county of Kiambu, my government, is 1.5 million trees for this year.
Kenyans have been urged to utilize this rainy season in planting more trees that will go a long way in combating the effects of climate change. Reporting for Channel 1 News from Kinale Forest in Kiambu County, Amopicho Chemtai.
And from environmental matters, health workers at the Mara Referral Hospital in Samburu County have been trained by the National Center Institute of Kenya on cancer prevention and management through resource mobilization. The training seeks to build the capacity of health workers to deal with the cancer burden currently facing the county.
Statistics from the National Cancer Institute of Kenya show males aged between 65 and 69 years and females aged between 45 and 49 years are affected by cancer in Samburu County. It is based on this insight that the National Cancer Institute of Kenya partnered with the county government of Samburu to train health workers on best practices to manage cancer.
That the burden of cancer is reduced. Number two, we create as much awareness as possible and talk about cancer and educate the people of Samburu. Number three, we strengthen screening of cancer, especially the common cancers that can be screened. And then number four, the continued support that the county is providing in cancer response be sustained, and we continue increasing the investment of cancer response.
Samburu County Health CEC Dr. Nasir Lekudere said the county government is committed to create awareness through consistent media campaigns.
Through the health education, we need to educate our people that by telling them the signs and symptoms of the disease, and we need to encourage them to to visit our health facilities, starting from level 1, that is community level, dispensary, health center, and sub-county hospitals, and also county referral hospital, for us to detect and treat them early enough.
This as residents were urged to avoid using herbal medicines to treat cancer and instead seek proper treatment and medication in hospitals.
The danger of residents going to alternative means or medication or herbal medication is that they risk actually death, because the herbal medication, no research has been done, no statistics, no evidence, and in the current world we are talking about evidence-based medicine.
Elsewhere, the Lake Region Economic Bloc First Ladies have launched an initiative to scale up the fight against cervical cancer in Busia County.
Nitatembea kwa county, sub-county hospitals zote na ile dispensary zote nitafikia, hasa to create awareness, because wakati hii ndio lazima tupambane na kansa. Na mimi kama Busia County si nitasimama na nyinyi, na nitahakikisha mko na facilities za kuscreeniwa, nitahakikisha mashule tumewafikia, ndio tuwajulishe. Kazi ni kwetu, na hakuna mtu mwingine atatufanyia hii kazi, ni sisi wenyewe. Lakini tukishikana na the medics na afya, ofisi ya afya, najua tutaenda mbali.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Abdulaziz Abeid.
Still on health matters, maternal health services in Kiambu County are set to be more accessible with construction of an integrated maternal, newborn and child health facility at Makwa village in Gatundu North. The 12.8 million shilling development is expected to go a long way in giving the village that has defied state war against illicit bros a new face.
Makwa village in Gatundu North, Kiambu County has been in the news for years for 3 wrong reasons: brewing, sale, and consumption of changa. This is despite relentless efforts by the national and Kiambu County governments to wipe out the menace. Now, the local population is looking forward to improved health services, including provision of reproductive health education and extension services. M-Pesa Foundation has begun construction of an integrated maternal, newborn, and child health center. Sophia Zubeba Onyango, the M-Pesa Foundation representative, says the facility will also help reduce infant and maternal mortality.
The grant that M-Pesa is giving is a total of 12.8 million, and this is towards the construction of a maternity wing that will support these mothers within the Makwa community. We are not only doing this in Makwa, M-Pesa Foundation is actually supporting healthcare within the 47 counties of Kenya.
Kiambu Deputy Governor Rosemary Njeri Kirika lauded the initiative, saying the maternity facility will help ease the burden at Igegania Level 4 and Gatundu Level 5 hospitals respectively.
I take this opportunity to really thank the foundation, because the nearest maternity facility from here is 7 kilometers away at Gorongo Health Center, and the other one is at Gegania Health Center. So it means that expectant mothers from this area always face a lot of trouble when they need those facilities, and so this facility will come in very handy for this community.
Joan Junge for Lunchtime News.
In other news, Nakuru youth have been challenged to be the engine behind peace and development in the country. According to Calvin Moga, a program officer at Midrift Human Rights Network, youth have been for a long time used by politicians for their own selfish gains. Speaking during a peace meeting in Nakuru West Sub-County, Moga noted that only a peaceful atmosphere could guarantee meaningful development and social economic prosperity for all. He added that Kenya is currently experiencing synonymous challenges such as insecurity, high rates of youth unemployment, and lack of meaningful participation of youth in critical decision-making, which results in their disenfranchisement.
Asante sana. CPF hiyo pia nimejifunza hiyo na nimesikia. Mambo muhimu sana hayawezi yakafanyika kama hakuna amani. Hatuwezi tukaenda sokoni kama hakuna amani. Wale wa Kristo na Waislamu hawawezi wakaenda msikitini ama kanisani kama hakuna amani. Hatuwezi tukafanya biashara kama hakuna amani. Inamaanisha kwamba amani ni kitu muhimu sana.
Ningependa kuwahimiza vijana wenzangu ya kwamba ile violence si kitu ya kushangiliwa na kushabikiwa, because yule mtu ambaye unaenda kumet hiyo violence ni ndugu yako, ni mtu ambaye mmeishi pamoja, mmesaidiana kwa njia mingi, na siasa ambayo ni ya siku chache inakuja inaleta uhasama ndani yenu.
Special needs school head teachers have decried delayed capitation for the special learners as well as understaffing of teachers in the institutions. These and more stories in the County News Roundup.
Speaking after receiving 19 million shilling grants from National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya to fund grounded projects in their institutions, the 22 special needs education urged the government to fast-track the capitation since the institutions have been brought to a standstill.
We are requesting the ministry to treat SNE schools like the way the secondary schools are treated, with the proper funding as per the learners' capitation of between 35 to 57,000 shillings as per the disability.
Meanwhile, Nakuru ward representatives now want to be given security details by the government equal to other government officials and lawmakers. This is after Kisa East MCA Stephen Maloba was stabbed to death by goons in Kakamega on Saturday the 1st of April.
Kama ninaomba serikali hata sisi tupewe walinzi, na ndio nimesema sio mimi unipatie mlinzi, unapatia zile jukumu niko nazo.
At the same time, kidney experts are pushing for early diagnosis of kidney-related diseases to avoid unnecessary financial and health challenges in future.
Could have prevented this man from going into advanced kidney failure. This should be the crux, that a simple check for your body weight, your blood sugar, your blood pressure, and a simple urine examination. These cost nothing. Even yearly once is enough. Yearly once is enough. So this should be an alert to all across all specialties. That has nothing to do with only nephrology.
So very soon we are going to start robotic by April end, by the grace of God. First robotic surgery in Africa. Robotic surgery, once upon a time it was a luxury, but now it is a necessity, particularly for cancer surgery.
Elsewhere in Migori County, understaffing and poor infrastructural development are hindering the implementation and new curriculum in parts of Nyakite sub-county of Migori County.
Na changamoto yenye iko kwa masomo ni ukosefu ya walimu. Kama hiki shuleni penye tuko ni wanafunzi 43, lakini mwalimu ni mmoja, na hata kwa sasa huyo mwalimu hayuko.
This issue must be taken very serious because you cannot experiment with children. The most, dangerous thing that you can do, and I think this is one matter that the leaders, especially Parliament, must come out clearly and make sure that our children go back to school.
Finally, the Ministry of Health has insisted that the Linda Mama initiative meant for pregnant mothers is still active and is free across all hospitals in the country. Delivering the speech meant for World Health Day at Jacaranda Hospital in Rwaka, Kiambu County, Tessie Mudavadi, spouse to Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, urged all women to take advantage of the Linda Mama initiative.
Mama program targets expectant women and aims at reducing maternal and child deaths. In addition, the Linda Mama program ensures mothers do not struggle with paying medical bills during pregnancy and birth. The Linda Mama program is aimed at addressing challenges of high maternal mortality and increase access to skilled delivery services, thereby improving maternal and child health. Kenyan expectant women and their infants through this program have access to quality and affordable health services.
Producing a film is the work of the producer, whereas having the same reach the viewer is the responsibility of film or content distributor. Now, on cinemas and theatre, Jacqueline Macharia highlights some of the initiatives in place to ensure smooth distribution of films, which in essence translates into money in the pockets of filmmakers.
Every year, Kenya hosts more than 100 foreign film productions and employs over 100,000 local talent, according to the Kenya Film Commission. The goal of every filmmaker is to make a living out of their productions, but sadly, the distribution channels in the film industry pose the biggest challenge.
Making a film, I tried premiering it on YouTube, but then I just realized that it was only going to work for the first week. At that moment, I realized that as a young filmmaker in Kenya, there's actually such a huge problem that we have when we make short films, and it's just like you're doing it out of passion, but there is no journey beyond that.
Distributors, on the other hand, claim poor quality of local films by upcoming producers is to blame, as promoting the same is not as easy as when marketing a high-end film.
The biggest challenge is producing films that people want to watch. Because if the quality of the films is not very good, then you can't complain that you don't have a good distribution system. Because if the movie is good and people start hearing about it, they can even come looking for you to get this film so that they could watch it.
In an attempt to address this problem, a team of young Kenyans has created an online streaming platform that will offer a forum to local filmmakers to sell their films at ease.
We'll have something called Enter Originals. So we are commissioning filmmakers who have good stories, and what we'll be doing is, us as a studio, we have a team that we will give to that production that has been commissioned, that will work closely with them.
The issue of distribution and other challenges, as well as achievement of the film industry, came up during the 6th edition of the Kalasha International Film and TV Market.
One film production can be able to actually power so many jobs, and that's why the government is so keen to see to it that we are able to have many people storytell, because through storytelling, the country is able to achieve so many benefits. The more films we produce and market abroad, we create room for tourism attraction. So screen tourism will be able to thrive through film production.
Jacqueline Macharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
That report by Jacqueline Macharia brings us to our first break here on Lunchtime News. Don't go too far, we still have more news coming up.
Today is the last supper for some people, and tomorrow before the cock crows, what is it, 3 times? Kuna wenye watakuwa wamesema mimi sijui. Mimi sijui. I have no idea.
Don't want association with the national criminal.
Yes, with the national criminal. Yes.
You know, Swahili women don't fight with fists. They normally fight with lessons. So you make them angry, they go inside, they try the lesson. And then you just read what you want to read to go back in time.
That is so peaceful. I can't say the same for peaceful war. Let me not say anything. And that's my community.
The kissing.
How about tonight we
have dinner tonight?
Huh? Do you have feelings for me?
Yeah.
Huh?
When exactly are you going to stop avoiding me?
I'm not avoiding you. I'm really busy. Look, he's standing there waiting for me, see?
I don't see him standing there. He isn't there.
Charlene. No matter what she says now, I won't listen.
Hey, hold on. Now that you've found the Jenny you've been looking for, there shouldn't be any problems left to solve.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hii ya kibeti, bonyeza *811*962#.
Ati umefanya vizuri sana kunipigia hii simu sasa. Nimekuwa na stress kutoka asubuhi kabisa. Na ni huyu mtu ambaye alikuwa anapatiana majina ya vitu. Kwani hakutufikiria sisi watu wa Eastern Ukambani? Ni nani alisema ati wife kwa Kiswahili ni mke? Na akasema ati handbaka. Hii inabebwa na mwanamke handbaka. Ati kwa Kiswahili ni kibeti. Huku kwetu mke ndiye kibeti.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hiyo ya kibeti, bonyeza *811*962#. *811*962#.
Welcome back. The family of Miriam Namachanja, a student who died in Luvambo village in Malava constituency after coming for a school break from Sacred Heart Mukumu Girls High School, has finally spoken about her last moments. The family is now appealing for justice as they urge the Teachers Service Commission to take action against the school principal, Frida Ndolo, for putting the lives of learners at stake.
Justice is all the family of the late Miriam Namachanja wants.
The board of management yote ya hiyo shule ibunjiliwe mbali, wachague bodi ingine hiyo inaendesha shule pamoja na mwalimu mkuu. Inatakana ifanye compensation hiyo sababu tutasema kosi inatokea huko shuleni, sio huku kwetu, ama sisi sio wazazi ndio wote na leta hiyo shule, sababu hiki sio kisa cha kwanza. Kuna hii visa huwa inafanyika tu kwa kila mwaka. Every year lazima watoto wanakufa wawili watatu mpaka kwa wanafunzi waine hivi.
At the family home in Luvambo in Malava constituency, Kakamega County, burial plans are ongoing.
Vile tulienda huko nilishangaa na hiyo shule, hata niliambia baba yake vile tulikuja, nikasema na hiyo shule kweli afya usafi iko chini kabisa. Tumeenda ukifungua kila choo imejaa hii ya kuflash, imejaa mpaka hata imemwakika chini, na mwanafunzi anatoka huko na maji ya 3 lita atamwakilie tu hivi na mikono ndio yote iishe, hiyo chafu iishe. Nikasema kweli maji 3 lita mtoto ametoka huko mmoja anaweza mwakilia hii chafu yote iende.
Miriam's parents say she came home complaining of stomachache, backache and pains all over her body.
Anahisi joto mingi kabisa na jasho imeanza tu kutoka tu kama maji. Nikasema haya kupumua. Nikamuuliza Miriam, unajisikia kukohoa? Kasema hapana. Na nini mbaya? Kasema vile nilikuwa nakula maembe. Ndio baba yake akasema wacha mchipange tuende Lukulu, wacha niende nione mtu wa pikipiki. Hasa akaambia baba, kimbia uone Kefa, mkuche na pikipiki alafu tuende. Mwenyewe tumpeleke Lukulu.
They claim she said the symptoms started when the school began bringing water from outside the school compound.
Kwa hakika ametoka. Na before atoke hiyo, sasa siku yenye alitoka hiyo on Sunday, hiyo Saturday usiku alinipigia simu saa 3. Tukaongea naye, tukaongea mambo mengi, akiniuliza brother, utakuja lini? Nikamwambia maybe mpaka December ndio tuonana na wewe. Akaniambia nyewe huko si mbali. Nilikuwa nataka tu at least hata kama unaweza pata time ukuje unione. Kamwambia sawa, waja mimi mwenyewe nitajipanga alafu nikuje. Na akaniambia kesho yake nataka nitafute simu ya mtu mwenye kwa WhatsApp, nitakuvideo call at least tuongee na wewe tukionana hivi. Na akaniambia lakini wewe usikue na shaka, mimi nimepona, nataka kurudi shule.
Miriam was a student at Sacred Heart Mukumu Girls High School and is one of the students who succumbed to suspected food poisoning. Tests on food and water samples sent to the Kenya Medical Research Institute laboratory in Kisumu showed presence of bacterial infection. 26 students are still receiving treatment at different hospitals in Kakamega County. Ruth Wamboi for Lunchtime News.
National Drought Response Steering Committee has provided humanitarian support in terms of food relief to families hard hit by drought. At least 768 vulnerable families in Umande Ward, Laikipia County, have benefited from the relief food meant to cushion them from famine. Beneficiaries have been advised against selling relief food for monetary gains.
Speaking during the relief food distribution exercise in Umande, Laikipia East, Deputy County Commissioner Patrick Muli noted that the beneficiaries were the worst drought-stricken families and needed immediate humanitarian support.
Kuna ile kriteria tumika kwa sababu hii chakula ingetoshelesha kila mmoja, na tukasema tutumie kriteria kwamba ni ile familia tunaona imefinyika sana kwa upande wa njaa, na tulikuwa tunaangalia maybe ni mtu ambaye ana mfugo yote, tunaangalia maybe kama kuna mtu kwa hiyo mboma anafanya kazi.
He further warned beneficiaries against selling the relief food.
Tunataka kutoa onyo kwa watu wakipokea hii chakula, sana sana kwa wanaume wale ambao wanapokea chakula, sio chakula ya kuuza. Imeandikwa vizuri kwa hiyo bag ya kwamba it's not for sale.
National Drought Management Authority Laikipia County Coordinator Golicho Guyo said Mukogodo East and West was the most affected by drought. He said the beneficiaries received the rice, maize flour and packets of porridge flour.
Laikipia is one of the counties that was affected drastically by the drought, and currently the county has received some rains, but still the need for food is still there.
Kuna miaka 4 hatujafuna kitu chochote kwa shamba. Mifugo imekufa, watoto wako na njaa.
Kwa hivyo tunashukuru serikali yetu kwa kutukumbuka, na tunafurahi kwa kutukumbuka, na azidi kutukumbuka zaidi kwa sababu tunaathirika, mvua alikuwa hakuna, ukame anazidi.
According to the assessment conducted by the National Drought Management Authority in the county for the month of February 2023, the number of those in need of food aid moved up from 183,000 to about 250,000 people. For Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
Now, tourism, handcrafts and indigenous products will be coded and tracked to increase benefits to craftsmen. Tourism Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza says through the new Shanga State Corporation, individuals will benefit from direct market linkages under a fresh, robust legal and regulatory framework aimed at curbing the underselling of Kenyan products.
Tourism revenue rose by 83% last year, making an almost full recovery from the ravages of the COVID era. This, however, has not reflected on craftsmen of cultural goods and products, like beadwork and handcrafts, who make less than a quarter from the ultimate sale of their goods. The Ministry of Tourism blames this on the involvement of middlemen. She says the beadwork and handcrafts value chain requires streamlining, and as such, the formation of the State Corporation Ushanga will ensure the products get proper market valuation, and the same is reflected in the earnings of the craftsmen.
We must prioritize empowering communities and creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. By doing so, we can build a more inclusive and prosperous country that benefits all Kenyans.
The new parastatal will also map products and will give guidelines on formal sale of the same.
We can protect our women from the middlemen and from exploitation. We know this country as an history where we developed Kiondo, and today Kiondo, we don't have rights upon it.
Time is of the essence. This is a very important task, and Ushanga is very important, and the President is very passionate about it.
For foreign markets, Malonza says it is essential that exported crafted goods can be traced back to the maker, giving more insight to the buyer.
I also want to assure the indigenous craftsmen and women in our country today that the government is fully committed to supporting them and their businesses for sustainability.
Every county has a culture. Every county has a product they're passionate about.
Hibak Said for Lunchtime News.
Manufacturers have expressed their worry at a possible spike in trade in counterfeited spirits, cosmetics, water brands and juices. This is after the gazettement and implementation of Legal Notice number 30 of 2023 titled the Excise Duty Regulations 2023 that effectively increases the rates of excise stamp fees for bottled water, cosmetics, alcoholic beverages, nicotine products and export products.
A statement from the Kenya Association of Manufacturers expressed fears of a possible spike in trade in counterfeited products following the gazettement and implementation of the Excise Duty Regulations 2023. The association had earlier warned the proposed increase in the cost of excise stamps will spike trade in counterfeits, hurting growth in taxes. The manufacturers protested a duty, saying it shall have a detrimental effect on consumers and manufacturers due to increased costs for production and the cost of finished products. The increment comes months after 6.3% inflation adjustment on specific excise tax rates was effected on 1st of October 2022, impacting cosmetics, confectionery and alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages among other products. 3 months before the inflation adjustment, there was an increase in excise taxes effective 1st July 2022 by between 10% and 20% through the Finance Act 2022. In the Finance Act of 2022, Treasury increased excise duty on beauty and cosmetic products by 15%, fruit and vegetable juices by 10%, wines and beer 10%, and spirits by 20%. The association is now calling on the government to enhance tax predictability to spur investments and growth. Frederick Moki for Lunchtime News.
Congo-Brazzaville's port of Quinoa, the economic and oil capital, has received its first cruise ship as the Congolese government intensifies its economic diversification strategy. It is the first time in history that a cruise ship sweeps the coast of the Central African country, with some declaring it a true sign of a new era of economic diversification in the country. Here are the details of these and other stories making headlines across the continent.
Finnish flag floating in the air 115 meters of steel carrying 150 tourists of various nationalities, the SH Vega cruise ship has been welcomed in the port of the economic and oil capital of Pointe-Noire in Congo-Brazzaville. However, Congo-Brazzaville's port authorities have not given any details on the rate of passage of cruise ships. The Chamber of Commerce says Congo-Brazzaville is moving gradually towards diversification of the economy, and tourism is a sector in which the country has comparative advantages. Meanwhile, the Silk Road artists redivers in art showcasing 87 paintings and ceramic pieces that reflect the cultural ties between China and Arab states by artists from both sides has kicked off and will run through the month at the Palace of Arts in Cairo. More than 100 artists from 22 Arab states visited China on special invitations and created nearly 500 pieces of art, including paintings, sculptures, and ceramic artwork since the first edition of the event was held in 2009. A Sino-Arab artist dialogue was also held after the inauguration ceremony. Wu Weishen, director of the National Art Museum of China and also a famed sculptor, shared the inspiration he found in his Arab tours, and several Arab artists shared what they learned from their China visits over the last 10 years. Finally, a falling local currency, salary arrears, and war spending have pushed up prices in the Democratic Republic of Congo, leaving locals struggling to afford basics. Since the new year, the Congolese franc has depreciated about 15% against the US dollar, according to official figures and money changes hitting the poor the hardest. The price hikes follow increased government spending to battle the M23 rebel group, which has captured swathes of territories in eastern Congo since last year. The International Monetary Fund said in February that the Democratic Republic of Congo increased spending in 2022 to respond to the conflict in the east as well as to pay salary arrears. Frederick Muki for Lunchtime News.
The global manufacturing activity edged down in March, pointing to a sluggish economic recovery. The Global Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index stood at 49.1% in March, down by 0.8 percentage points from the previous month. Here are the details of these and other stories making headlines across the globe.
For the sixth straight month, the Global Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index has been below a reading of 50. A reading above 50 indicates expansion, while a reading below 50 reflects contraction. The indexes have averaged 49.9% for the first 3 months of 2023, an increase of 0.5 from the previous quarter. In breakdown, the average Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index in Asia was 51.4 in the first quarter, up 1.8 from the fourth quarter last year, making it a key driver of global economic recovery. Europe saw an average reading of 48.7 for the same period. Manufacturing activities in the Americas and Africa have been losing steam, weighing on the global economic outlook. The two regions posted average readings of 47.6 and 47.8 respectively in the first 3 months of this year. Meanwhile, Amazon said it will reduce employees' stock awards, a part of its compensation plan as the e-commerce giant navigates an uncertain economy. The news comes weeks after Amazon announced a second round of mass layoffs, piling onto a wave of job cuts that has swept the technology sector as a rough economy forces company to get leaner. Amazon's share have gained more than 20% this year, following a near 50% tumble in 2022. Finally, the Port of Dover says it had decided to spread coach traffic across Thursday, Friday and Saturday after talks with ferry operators. It will also put in a temporary queue to help process coach passengers ahead of crossing the border during the Easter festive season. The Confederation of Passenger Transport, the trade body for coach and bus companies, welcomed the changes but said ferry firms needed to improve advance information. It also called for the port to introduce more coach priority measures. Terry Njenga, Lunchtime News.
The Parliamentary Committee on Blue Economy has pledged to champion an increase in budgetary allocation for the Ministry of Mining and Blue Economy to revive stalled projects at the coast. The chairperson of the committee, Bowen Kangogo, believes completion of stalled projects would create jobs and increase earnings for those in the fisheries value chain.
Poverty levels at the coast are among the highest in the country despite the immense blue economy opportunities availed by the Indian Ocean. A number of projects started at the coast have stalled, blamed on funding challenges. The Parliamentary Committee on Blue Economy has committed to unlock funding by increasing budgetary allocation to the Ministry of Mining and Blue Economy.
Tumekuja wasiliane na gavana wetu hapa pamoja na serikali ya kaunti tuone kwamba tunaweza weka hizo sheria pamoja ndio tuondoe hizi maneno ya taxes mingi kwa hawa wakulima wavuvi.
The committee is also concerned with low levels of involvement by the coastal counties in the blue economy plans. Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungaro asked the legislators to come up with a legislation that will empower fisher folk.
Wavuvi, na hata wale ambao wanafanya biashara ya utalii katika maji haya, wale wenye boti za kwenda kule marini kuangalia dolphin, pia wanapata tabu kwa sababu wanalipishwa pesa kila upande. Mtu wa fisheries anatoka ndio huyo anataka pesa hiyo boti, mwingine anataka pesa ya wale watu waliobebwa pia walipiwe. Lazima kuwe na mikakati ya kuweka mazingira bora ili wavuvi wale wanaofanya kazi, wanaofanya uchumi wa uchumi samawati, wanaofanya kazi za baharini wawe na uwezo wa kuweza kujijenga kibiashara badala ya kuwalipisha gharama za kila aina ambazo zinawafanya waweze kushindwa kufanya biashara hizo.
Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization is commercializing quinoa seeds. The organization's director of crop research, Wasilo Alusike, says field trials of the crop in the counties of Embu and Nakuru have been successful, and if farmers embrace the crop, Kenya will reduce quinoa imports.
Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization says after successful quinoa cultivation trials in Njoro and Embu, it is ready to commercialize the nutritious produce.
5 varieties, and we tested them for suitability in Embu, and those varieties did very well. They were registering between 2.8 up to 5 tons a hectare.
A kilo of quinoa, which is mostly imported, retails at an average of 1,500 shillings. Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization says it has 5 varieties of hybrid quinoa seeds that can yield up to 3 tons per acre.
A crop of the year because it's a climate smart crop, you know, so it's very drought tolerant, and when you grow it and it germinates, you're going to get a crop. So some plants can yield up to a kilo or 2 kilos per plant. So you can imagine, I can't remember the plant density, but you get up to 5 to 8 tons per hectare.
The quinoa is a gluten-free grain, rich in fiber, iron and vitamins, and is popular in urban centers.
Also, when you look at the uses of quinoa, you can eat it sweet, you can eat it sour, you can eat it very salty. So that means you can add quinoa to ice cream and eat it.
Benson Rioba for Lunchtime News.
And now in the sports arena, plans to construct an anti-doping laboratory in Eldoret, which will help to increase sample collection, are at an advanced stage. Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, Head of Legal Services Bildad Rogoncho, says the establishment of an anti-doping accredited laboratory in the country will boost efforts of fighting doping.
Rogoncho said they are looking at increasing the anti-doping programs to the levels that will enable WADA to grant them a go-ahead to establish an accredited laboratory in the country. He said currently, collected samples have to be sent to either Qatar or South Africa, an expensive exercise that has curtailed Kenya's effort to conduct a minimum of 3,000 tests per year as required by WADA. Kenya is able to do 1,200 tests every year, with the numbers bound to increase following the government's move to inject 3.3 billion shillings into the agency's budget for the next 5 years. Rogoncho said that athletes are now turning to medical students to administer the banned substances, with 8 cases being under investigation. ADAC is now pushing for the criminalization of doping, with the amendment of the Anti-Doping Act already in motion. Kenya, a world-renowned powerhouse in middle and long-distance running, has seen an increase in the number of athletes who cheat, with the Athletics Integrity Unit reporting 55 cases in the country in 2022.
Reigning Kenya Volleyball Federation League champions GSU will take on Kenya Airports Police Unit team in their opening match as the 2023 KVF Paul Bitok International Tournament serves off Friday at the Nyayo National Stadium and Kasarani Indoor Arena. The tournament has attracted 12 men's team and 9 women's team. Rwanda Air is the only foreign team that has signed up for the 3-day international tourney.
Powerhouse GSU will open their campaign against Kenya Airports Police Unit team in Pool A. KPA will face Kenya Army, while Equity Bank will be up against KPA in Pool B. Pool C will see Prisons Nairobi face Trailblazers, while AP Kenya will play Trailblazers. The men's semi-final matches will be played at the Kasarani Indoor Arena after their group exploits at the Nyayo Stadium. Nairobi Water will face DCI, Kenyan champions Kenya Pipeline will take on KDF, while Nairobi Water will play Kenya Pipeline in the women's Pool A matches. In the women's Pool B matches, Nairobi Prisons will face KCB, Prisons Kenya will take on Post Bank, Kenya Army will play Prisons Kenya, KCB will square it out with Post Bank, while Kenya Army will be up against Nairobi Prisons. Lined up on Friday and Saturday in the women's category. The semi-finals and finals are set for Sunday, with the top 2 teams in each pool